So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? So we are back to talking about grapes and varietals, wine regions that a lot of people don't really know about, because we want to give a shout out to these areas so we can help the consumer a little bit understand these wines a little bit better, and also the trade, because we're all in this together. We need to promote as many wines as we can, especially wines that fly under the radar. We're going to talk about that today. This is a wine from Sardinia, and it's called Cannonau. And Cannonau is a very, very interesting grape varietal, because in France they call it Grenache, and in Spain they call it Garnacha, but in Sardinia they call it Cannonau. So it's basically the same grape. We're going to point it out right on the map, right here in this purple area right here. This is where Cellar is, the winery that represents these wines here. They have a great selection of wines, but I think one of the beauties of Sardinia is of course Cannonau. So if you've been following a lot, we did another series on one of the white wines, which was Vermentino. This is the wine, the red wine. That is the most popular wine in Sardinia. But we wanted to bring up the fact again that Sardinia is one of the blue zones, if a lot of people don't realize that. People live to be over 100 years in this area. So a lot of people say, 100 years? How do people live to be 100 years? Well, of course it's what they eat, what they consume, exercise. Sardinia is a very internal, the families, they have the grandchildren, and the elderly parents are well taken care of. So there's a number of reasons why people live to be 100. Guess what? It's a stress-free place. But Sardinia is one of the most beautiful, if you want to call it, parts of Italy. And especially, because of the coastal maritime influences we talk about here, create what I say one of the best microclimates for wines. But what grows great here is the Grenache. And these were obviously planted by the Greeks. They obviously knew exactly what I was talking about with this microclimate that would be conducive to these wines. But at the same time, we wanted to spend some time with this wine because I think it's really interesting. But this is one of the top producers here, and we want to point it out on the map because they actually, you can see all the way to the top of the map here, and we can pinpoint it, the actual name of the winery. So, and this is how you read an area right here, because you can see how close the maritime is right here to the inland there. It's almost like a peninsula. But this area grows great wines here for especially for Cannonau. But we wanted to spend time at least going over this area because there's not going to be too many wines that I'm going to be talking about in Sardinia. But I want people to pay attention to this wine because there's a number of things. Now remember, I talk about why do people live to be 100 years old. Now this area, this grape I should say, this Cannonau, they've done studies, and it's actually one of the best red wines for cardiovascular health. And when I say that, of course, when you eat, whether it's meats, I would recommend meats with this, whether it's lamb or whether it's beef or even cheese. They have beautiful Sardinian cheeses. These wines are perfect for our digestive because they aid in the digestive system, and they also help enhance the heart. And a lot of studies have been done by numerous doctors and scientists, because some people, that we understand people don't drink wine because they might think it's a health issue or something like that. But again, why do people live in Sardinia and they drink almost a couple of glasses or 2 or 3 glasses of this kind of wine on a daily basis and live to be 100 years old? Find it fascinating, but at the same time, we wanted to really talk about Cannonau. I think that this is one of the true values in all of Italy. So let's give this wine a little twirl. Wow, you smell a lot of black currants, a lot of beautiful fruit. You do get that, a kind of an exotic kind of quality of these wines. You get tobacco, which slowly rises in the glass. You get cedar. You do get a little bit of that mineral tone from this, because remember now, this is an island, so you're gonna get a lot of minerality out of these wines. And just beautiful floral nuances. This wine is really, really just leaps from the glass, so it's just beautiful. Yeah, you can see how close they are to the Mediterranean here. So all those influences really help support the grapes and make these wines very unique in their own world that exists there. Let's taste the wine. I get chocolate. I get beautiful raspberry spice tones. I get mineral, which is what I always look for in wines. And I also get, again, that salinity that I talk about that gives it like a bracing kind of acidity, which makes it refreshing almost to drink this wine. I know this sounds funny, but sometimes if it doesn't have this acidity or this salinity, it can be a little dull. The wine can be just kind of flat, flattens out in the mouth, doesn't have any extension, so you don't drink the wine and have this, what we call the finish in the back, which I'm still tasting the wine. That tells you a lot. So, but this is a beautiful, beautiful wine. And the price, this wine is under $25 a bottle. Great values from Italy. I think people should be spending time on these wines. I mean, there's other things besides Cabernet and Merlot and Pinot Noir. Yes, I understand people love those wines, but try to venture out a little bit. Look at the color of this wine. Look at this. It's beautiful, but it's an expression of Grenache, and it's not heavy. You know, sometimes people would think, isn't Grenache heavy? No. Au contraire, this wine is not heavy. It's very subtle. It's got beautiful flavors. One more taste. Wow, it's changing, ever changing in the wine. It's still young. It's a 20 vintage, so you can look at it. But this is a Reserva, so it's spent a little time in wood. You do get those cedary kind of quality in the back. And this is a wine I think that you can put down and age a little bit. It will get better in the bottle. Again, this is Grape Explorer. We are always trying to find great value. We're trying to find great wines, and we want to bring this to the table today for you. Cheers.